Hello everybody and welcome back to the F126 Audi driver career mode. We are back here for round 2 at the Shanghai International Circuit in China, ready for the first sprint race weekend of the season. As you guys can see, not too much has changed in the development race here. It's a little bit too early in the season for all the teams to be bringing any kind of major upgrades. So at the moment, Lando Norris leads the way. We find ourselves in P9 in the standings. Not bad for our first ever outing in these cars. And our teammate Nico Hulkenberg at 13th, and we sit 6th in the constructor standings. So hopeful for this sprint qualifying session that we can do something to kind of get us into the mix for points. Of course, for sprint races, P8 and up instead of P10 like it is in a normal Grand Prix. So let's see what we can do here for the first sprint qualifying of the season. Well, here we are in the middle of our first lap of the Chinese Grand Prix weekend in a competitive session. I did spend all of practice, like full 60 minutes, learning the track and stuff like that, which I never normally do. But with these 2026 cars, it's almost like you have to relearn how to drive them. So now we head down the back straight into the hairpin. But yeah, I spent the full 60 minutes of practice just driving and just kind of trying to figure out where to deploy the battery to go quickest and things like that. As now we're going to head up towards the line. I feel like we're a little bit conservative on the battery. We definitely were. We're nearly 2 seconds off of Liam Lawson. So if we have enough fuel here, I'd like to go for another lap around this circuit. As you head down into the long turns 1 and 2, and then head through 3, get on the power as soon as you can. It's kind of difficult because it kind of snails out of that corner.
Okay, we've only got 1 lap of fuel remaining.
So now we're already a second up coming out of the first sector. As this corner, the previous generation of cars was flat out, but with downforce reduced this season, you have to lift just ever so slightly. I think it's barely flat on these soft compound tires, but not on these mediums. At least not with this Audi car. The AI are having big lifts and coasts through there. So that seems to be where they want to charge the battery, is Pierre Gasly. Better not hold my lap up here, as of course he's going to. But luckily we are very, very high up, so even though we had to do that, we are 2.5 seconds nearly up on our previous lap time. As now we're going to go across the line, and it's going to bring us up to P7, only 3/10 off of George Russell in the Mercedes. Well, here we are then at the end of sprint qualifying 1, and unfortunately, we have been knocked out in P19. Our teammate Nico Hulkenberg and P21, 3/10 off us, so not the best start to the weekend from the Audi team. But Valtteri Bottas making it through, as did both the V cars. Oscar Piastri, who won this race last year, is topping the timing sheet, so we'll see who can stick it on pole position and make it into Q3 and things like that, but we're going to have quite a lot of work to do in this sprint race if we want to try to score points.
Forget pit stops, forget fuel management. It's pedal to the metal all the way here as we get ready for today's sprint. We start a lap here at Shanghai with the long, difficult right-handers of turns 1 and 2, the first of 16 corners that make up this 3.3-mile circuit. The incredibly long back straight provides the best passing opportunity of the lap, with speeds in excess of 200 miles per hour before we head into the braking zone of turn 14. Off the back of a fantastic qualifying session, it's time to see how our starting grid looks for today's sprint. Lando Norris will lead us away from pole position, and Oscar Piastri completes the front row. Considering the rest of the grid, we have Leclerc, Hamilton, George Russell, and Verstappen, Sainz, Antonelli, Albon, and Isaac Hadjar, Gasly, Alonso, Liam Lawson, and Ocon, Bottas, Lindblad, Ollie Behrman, and Sergio Perez, Mr. Monaco, Colapinto, Hulkenberg, and Lance Stroll brings the grid to a close. Which of these drivers will get pole position today? We will soon find out. We welcome to the commentary box Anthony Davidson. I'm Alex Jakes. We're both looking forward to a really intriguing race today. So, a sprint race today, and that means lights to flag, no stops. And how is that going to affect the driver behind the wheel?
Absolutely. So for today, there's no pit stop, or shouldn't be a pit stop anyway, if things go right, and you can forget about strategy. You're just driving today as fast as you can, make those overtakes if you need to, and that's what a sprint weekend's all about.
Well, here we are then down on the grid, ready for the start of the Chinese Grand Prix sprint race. Going to start on the medium tires, of course, as will everybody else. And yeah, see no reason to postpone any further. Let's jump straight into the first sprint race of the 2026 season.
Here we go then, the formation lap is underway ahead of today's sprint.
Well, as you can see there, Lando Norris lining up on pole position and Oscar Piastri in second for a McLaren 1-2 in qualifying. So they have been, I know it's only the second competitive race of the year, but I mean, McLaren just looked quick.
We're almost ready to start the sprint as the cars take their positions on the grid, with the drivers and teams making their final preparations.
So everybody then, as I said, starting on the medium compound tire. We're going to have the Cadillac ahead of us of Sergio Perez. And the Alpine behind us as well. As now we're going to line up into our grid position. No holding back this race, nothing really to lose. So let's see what kind of moves we can pull off at the start here. As now we wait for the 5 red lights and they go out. And the Grand Prix of China sprint race is underway. As immediately we're going to get jumped there by Lance Stroll and our teammate Nico Hulkenberg, as well as Franco Colapinto now going side by side with the Cadillac. So clearly my start's something I still need to be working on this year. Is now, can we make it 3 wide down into turn 3? Got to be extremely careful on the throttle at the start. Make sure we make no kind of mistake on this very first lap, as now we are going to go on the outside of Colapinto, but up the inside goes Sergio Perez. I just had to slam on the brakes there. We're lucky not to lose the front wing. Is a big power slide from Colapinto coming out of the hairpin there, as now he just tucks back in on the racing line behind Checo, as we go around the outside of Franco Colapinto as well. And can we send one up the inside of Perez? No, not quite close enough, but we are going to get past the Alpine. He's going to try to hang around the outside, but nothing in it.
Let's try and move forward.
And there's the big lifting coast I was telling you about down that little mini straight through there. And let's see what kind of toe we can get coming out of this corner. The AI far less overpowered than they used to be out of that corner, as now we're immediately going to pick up a slipstream on Checo, and he's deploying batteries, so he's pulling away from us a little bit there, as we're not going to have anything in it down towards the hairpin. That's unbelievable. Thought we'd have a little more power than that, as at the end of this first lap, Lando Norris leads, and we find ourselves in 18th position, as just going to try to keep up with Arvid Lindblad. 3 seconds up the road, but the Concertina should help us out just a little bit. Well, here on lap 4, we are still 3 seconds behind Arvid Lindblad. The Concertina was helping us out just a little bit at the start, but now as the field starts to spread out, Lindblad does have boost mode available on Valtteri Bottas, so he has just so much more battery he can deploy down these straights, so it's kind of hard to keep up with them. It's that mixed with just kind of a general lack of pace from myself, if I'm being completely honest. China has never been one of my strongest circuits. None of the opening tracks of the season have really been my strong suit. It's something I need to work on. as now we are...
Tyre condition still looking good.
The gap just keeps fluctuating between myself and the young RB Junior. As I was mistaken earlier in qualifying, this corner is just about barely flat. Well, the tires are worn now, but at the start, I was able to take it extremely flat. As the first corner, the first sector really is not really the quickest, but now we are barely within a second of Arvid Lindblad. We were there
Okay,
just
clear.
for a moment coming out of the third corner. As now he is still on the tail of Valtteri Bottas. Bottas has fallen away from the rest of the pack, so I think a move for Arvid Lindblad could be coming here in the next couple of laps. Well, I have just been saving a bit of battery for this over the past couple of laps. We've finally come up on the back of Arvid Lindblad, as we're going to head down this back straight. He's going to shape up for a move on the Cadillac of Valtteri Bottas, as he is going to go up the inside. We're going to lift off early, just kind of harvest the battery, and Lindblad has cleared Valtteri Bottas. We go extremely deep into the hairpin there, and so now we need to try to get past Bottas as soon as we can and kind of stay with the young Red Bull Junior driver.
So overtake mode active. We'll get some extra power from the hybrid
Lando
system
Norris!
there. Use
Lando
boost
Norris
and
from the
next one
lead
straight to get
is
past.
out of the session here. Lando Norris having a mechanical failure. Whoa, where did that come from? And that has, I don't want to say blown the championship wide open, but that is certainly going to be a hit in the point standings for him and for McLaren, as now a Ferrari leads. Not sure if it's Charles Leclerc or Lewis Hamilton. As now we just...
Okay, so remember, when you get within a second, you'll get access to extra power from the hybrid system in overtake mode.
That's what I was just going to say. I'm trying to stay in the overtake mode of Valtteri Bottas. As now he has a little bit of a slide there. Tires are kind of wearing for everybody. As we've got 3 and a bit laps to go. Can we shape up for a move if we get a good run out of this corner? And we do not get a good run out of that corner. But it's still just going to dump all the battery. No harvesting. All the way down this back straight and see what kind of opportunities we can look for. Is Bottas close enough to anybody to make a move? No, he is not. As we're just going to have to sit back behind him for now. And we tap the back of his car. And we just have a little bit of damage there.
Alright, so we've been looking at the damage and we think we should be okay to continue. It's going to cost us a little bit of time, but we're nearly at the end of the race.
On the front right, and this is just a sprint race to forget, honestly. I don't really have much hopes for the Grand Prix either. Hopefully we can come back stronger next year or something, but I was thinking Australia might not have been a fluke and that was our real pace, but it's turning out that this might just be where we are at the moment, unfortunately. As we got 5 seconds back to Colapinto. I just realized that as I got to start braking earlier due to our front wing damage. And we just can't seem to stay with Bottas through this section to be close enough to do anything down the back straight. Well, we are a lot closer to Valtteri Bottas heading into turn 1 as he's just harvesting the battery there as we head into the braking zone. As can we shape up for a move around the outside on Valtteri? No, we cannot. As now Lindblad is all over the tail of Pierre Gasly. We got to be very tentative out of that corner. And we're not quite close enough to make a move still. This is extremely frustrating. But yeah, as I said, I think this might be our genuine pace around the Shanghai International Circuit, which is quite a shame. I had high hopes after Australia, as I said before, as that corner is just a nightmare with this front wing. All these medium speed corners are. I can't believe I just gave him the lightest of taps in the braking zone because I had outbraked myself, and that happened. So we are trying to stay with him, but there's just so much reduced downforce and understeer in this car now. Well, as we are about to start the final lap of the sprint race, we are all over the tail of Valtteri Bottas as we just take out the straight mode sign there. Good lord. Yeah, definitely a race to forget for us and for Audi. As do we have something on Valtteri Bottas? No, we do not. Just not close enough. It's so extremely frustrating here. But these might have been the worst 10 laps that I've ever done in an F1 car. As now it's probably just wrapped to the end. Honestly, we'll probably end where we started, as it is a Mercedes, or a Ferrari, excuse me, from a Mercedes, and then down to a Ferrari again, completing the podium. So once again, not sure if it's Charles Leclerc or Lewis Hamilton about to win this sprint race for Ferrari. Lewis won it last year, as we have a big slide out of there, and any hope of a move is gone now. So tires are cooked, car's cooked, and I'm cooked. Basically, is the summary of the past 10 laps. So we're gonna get the best run out of here as we kind of possibly can. With that front wing damage, you wouldn't think you would feel it that much, but when you're running these kinds of speeds in these 2026 cars and that kind of acceleration and stuff through the corners, certainly no help to you, as it is Charles Leclerc who comes home to win the sprint race here in China. Valiant effort from him and from Ferrari, but overall they got lucky that Lando Norris had his DNF, I think, as now we're going to come up the line P16.
Okay, pick up rubber and bring it home.
That is it for the sprint. Join us next time for qualifying and, of course, the main event, the Grand Prix. We will see you when Formula One returns.
Well, there you go then. Charles Leclerc taking the win home for Ferrari from this sprint race, putting 8 points on the board for Ferrari, and Lewis Hamilton in third makes that a total of 12, adding to their tally. George Russell between them, the meat and a Ferrari sandwich in second, then Max Verstappen, Andrea Kimi Antonelli, Piastri, the usual top 10, it looks like. Alex Albon sneaking in there. Fernando Alonso in ninth as well. So what just the things he's doing in that car is just unrealistic, but it's also just amazing and shows how much the driver rating makes a difference in this 2026 DLC. As we finish clear down the order in P16, Carlos Sainz having a DNF, as did Lando Norris. So yeah, not really too much to comment at the end of this, because you know it's just a general lack of pace in my scenario at the moment. So we'll have to work harder and see where we can qualify on the grid for the Grand Prix itself. But other than that, just you know, what can you do? That's why I said I don't have much hopes for the weekend, because what can you do? When there's a lack of pace, there's a lack of pace, and there's not really much you can do to fix it over a weekend. So yeah, that's all for this video, and I will see you guys next time out for the main event here in Shanghai.